All right, we are live on the Rake and Profit YouTube channel. What's going on, everybody? Welcome, welcome, welcome. We got my main man, Taylor Jones. Taylor
What's good,
Jones,
boss?
what's up, man? Taylor has done $445,000 selling on Amazon over the last 12 months. He was doing a lot of retail arbitrage, and recently he's switched his business model over to online arbitrage. And he's been making some really big moves behind the scenes. He's got his spreadsheet up and running, which is really important. We'll talk about it. He's now working with a prep center. And can I mention where you're planning on going? Am I okay to drop that?
Yeah, dude, like I said, I'm an open book, man, typically. So
Yeah, he's going to be moving from Miami. He's actually roommates with Avery, Romer the Roamer, my old roommate. And he's moving to Mexico. So he really has to drill into his business right now to really knock out a lot of systems, make sure it's fail proof, get his processes in place, because when you're in Mexico, man, you ain't going to be going to, we got the Walmart background right now on
they
the
actually
YouTube.
have a Walmart in Cancun. I went there.
Really?
I'm not gonna be doing any retail arbitrage there though.
Yeah. Well, welcome everybody live. Taylor, do you mind sharing with people your story? How did you get involved with reselling? What's your background? Were you, always a reseller, or did you work jobs, corporate, were you an
Man.
drug dealer? What's the deal?
Yeah, I wish. No, dude, no one in my family was ever entrepreneurial. Like everyone in my family has, either just a regular job or a corporate job, and they were pushing me in that direction. But I mean, really, as soon as I graduated college, I knew that I wanted to travel. I knew that I wanted to live an exciting life. Like, my generation was like the generation of, where we had Instagram and social media. So I saw all these people, going to Bali and doing this stuff. And I was like, I want to do that. I had no idea how I was going to do it. So after I graduated, I had like 7 different jobs. I hated them all, hated all my bosses. And I tried like 3 different businesses. I tried like a pyramid scheme, like MLMs. I tried to
pyramid scheme.
I tried to sell CBD. I tried to start a blog. I tried all this shit. None of it worked. And then one day I went to a TJ Maxx and I was just like with my buddy. This was like literally just over 2 years ago in November of 2019. Yeah. I saw Robert Graham, like a designer shirt.
Oh,
and
yeah.
The tag on it was like $199. I'm like, people pay that? Like, and then I saw the TJ Maxx sticker and it said like $29. And I don't know, I must have heard a Gary Vee video at the time, and I just picked up my phone and I had the eBay app and I never used it, but I scanned it and it was going on eBay for $100. I bought all 5 and sold them all for $100. And dude, I was hooked at that point. Yeah. And then I found Amazon a month later and sent in my first FBA shipment, and I was hooked, man. I was like, yep, this is it.
That's cool, man. I don't know if you know, but when I started reselling about 8 years ago, I started flipping bicycles. And after that first year, I did like $30,000 in bicycles on Craigslist. I moved into clothing. I did clothing full time. And, that those first couple of years, man, that one brand that I was always looking for at the thrift stores all the time, it was pinnacle. It was the best. It was crazy looking. It was weird, obscure. Robert Graham, man. Robert Graham is such a fantastic brand. I love Robert Graham.
Yeah, man. And like, that's a cool thing. It's like, I feel like, and I've sold a lot of categories. I feel like there's definitely a common thread. Like if you know what brands people like, that is a skill to be able to go into a store, find a deal, and know what brands people like, especially in each category. 100%.
So you found those. Yeah. So you found those 5 Robert Grahams. You bought them for, I think, $30 each, flipped them for 100. So you probably made somewhere around like $40 profit each, I'm assuming, maybe a little bit more. You took that money and what did you do? Like, how did you go from there? Because now you got a taste of success. And I was talking about this on the live stream yesterday. What holds most people back, Taylor, is they see other people making money with reselling and eBay and Amazon, but it's not real. It's like this fantasy. It's almost like I can't do it, but you got a taste of it. You flip those Robert Grahams and you're like, I can do it. So how did you go from there? Like what happened?
Yeah, dude, it's so true. Like I know for me, like, dude, I was probably following Gary Vee and these entrepreneurial Instagram accounts for probably 2 years before I even found reselling. Like it was all just an idea. Like it was really out of touch. And that was the first time where like, it was like, holy shit, this is actually real. Like this is actually, I made my first set of money. So after I sold those 5 shirts, I'm trying to think, what did I do? I don't think I kept going to TJ Maxx. Like, I don't think I liked the idea of that. I actually think I ended up returning one of them. But no, like I said, I ended up I found Amazon. And then I don't know the exact series of events, but I know that a month later, I was sitting in the living room with my dad. This was when I was still living at home. And I saw like a stack of books on the wall. And I had like 10 of the same book, brand new, that I bought at a real estate seminar. The guy basically convinced us to buy 10 of the same book to give out to investors. And that was going to be the way that we got into real estate investing. I ended up not doing anything with them, but I was like kind of pissed. I was like, damn, like this guy sold me on, $200 worth of books. But, but dude, I was so pissed, dude. I was like, okay, let me just see if I can get some of my money back, because I was trying anything at that point. And yeah, like that night I made an Amazon FBA shipment. Like it was super easy. Like I remember I took the 10 books. I literally went into the closet. I found a random box and I just put them on, and then I printed out a label and I made it in like 10 minutes. And then I sent it off. And I remember sending off that first shipment thinking, are those really going to sell? Like I didn't think they were I didn't know anything about sales rank. I didn't know anything. I just said, screw it. And I just did it. Like I knew it, no idea what I was doing. And then when I started getting sales on my phone, like a week later, I was the shit. Like I remember walking into the gym, like I'm such a big deal. Like
were the books selling for a premium? Because it's funny. I buy, a lot of items that you just pay retail for, even at Walmart and stuff, they sell for a premium on Amazon, even books. Did they sell for more
I
than
think
what
they were selling for like, $25, but I paid probably 15, 16. So nothing crazy, but I got my money back at least,
So you started selling these books and you're like, what the heck so you started in 2019. When I started, there was no Amazon seller app. Like, when I first started, there was no such thing as that. So like you were probably looking on your app, like I just made like $100, $200. Like, this is crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
So where did you go from there? So you flipped the Robert Grahams, you learned about Amazon, you started selling stuff around your house, which is what I always advise people. There's so much money around your house. If you're especially an eBay seller, because with Amazon, it's a little different. Amazon doesn't like you selling a lot of used items. They're more geared towards the new stuff, especially when it comes to like
100%.
toys and different things. Like, used books and CDs and DVDs if you're ungated. So you sold those, and then what did you do?
Sorry, the connection was breaking up a little bit. Were you there?
Oh, it's okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So what did you do after you sold those books?
Yeah, so I was in January of 2020. So this was like right before the pandemic broke out, and I was working at Xerox. I was probably making, $45,000 salary. But dude, I hated it. Like the environment was so fake. Like I wasn't like, it was a fake environment. Like I was making decent money, but I was cold calling people. So I knew in the back of my mind, like I need to plan an exit strategy. So, as soon as I found out that Amazon worked, I was also watching TikTok videos at the time, and I think that was inspiring me. I was like, oh shit, like other people are doing this too. And I watched, I think like 2 YouTube videos on retail arbitrage. Once I figured out that was like what it was called. And I saw one of Reezy's videos, and I saw, I think, someone else's video. And I knew that they were going to Walmart. And I knew that if I watched any more than 2 videos, I was just going to kind of get in this analysis paralysis. So I said, screw it. I just literally closed my laptop, and every day for like the next month, I just would go to Walmart after work and just scan everything. Like in all my Walmarts, I would just scan everything.
Were you using the Amazon seller app?
Yeah, I was using the Amazon seller app.
So you
Is this my connection?
It's got to be. If you're on hotspot, it's probably.
Gosh, I should have went to Starbucks.
Are you okay, or is it
okay? No, it's better now.
Okay.
No, you're better now. You're moving now. Okay.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. But what I was saying was, so you went and you scanned a bunch of items and stuff, and were you finding stuff like what? So what exactly happened, and what stores were you going to?
Yeah, I was going to Walmart and Target and really all the major retail stores, just looking for clearance stuff. And at first I really wasn't finding anything. Like it was, I probably had a very similar experience to a lot of other people just getting started. Like it was difficult, but I think the first stuff I found actually was a set of these, like those candle holders that you put the wax in and then it melts. Have you ever heard of
Okay.
those things? Yeah. So I found those and they were 50% off. So they were $4 originally, on sale for $2, but they were going for like 11. And I was calculating the profit and I'm like, geez, the profit's only like $1. But if I could get these for $1, then I'd be making $2 each. And then I could buy 50 of them and then I'd make 100. So I was like, okay, let me go see if I can talk to, and I went and I started asking the managers. I asked for the manager and I'd bring them back to the clearance section with me. And I'd say, hey, look, if I buy all 50 of these candle waxes, can I get them for $1 instead of $2? And 90% of the time they would give me them for the price that I wanted. Yeah. And so this is what I would do. And then I'd go to Home Depot and I'd go to the clearance section and then I'd figure out like, okay, maybe the ROI would only be like 15, 18%, but I'm like, okay, if I can get this additional, I'd make more. So then I'd get like Ryobi drills from Home Depot and I'd go get the manager and I say, look, if I buy all of these, can I get them for another 50% off? And they would usually give it to me.
Wow. I've heard of backroom access at thrift stores and, bundling things and stuff, but I never knew that people did that at retail stores.
Yeah, man, I was hooked. And like, if you ask the manager, like most of the retail stores, they want to dump their clearance stuff. Like they're being tracked on how effectively they can move inventory. And if they don't have space on their shelves, like they need to get rid of it. So if they have a lot excess inventory, they will dump it for a cheap price.
So that was your business model back then. You were just only going to the clearance section, negotiating deals, finding a bunch of one SKU, I suppose, and then just putting a deal together.
Yeah. And that's what I understood in my mind was like, okay, because of the way FBA works and the way that the shipping costs work, I want to find something that's selling really fast and that's really small that I can put in a box and then it'll really lower my shipping costs and just sell really fast. I didn't want to buy the big shit,
Awesome. So how much did you do in sales your first year? Because I know you've been doing this for what, 2 years now?
Yeah. So my first year I did 210,000, 215,000 in sales. And
I could hear you.
gosh. Okay. I think
Why don't you have internet,
I'm
Taylor?
so sorry.
How do you not have internet?
Steve, I'm so sorry, dude.
Where's the internet,
dude,
man?
The place, it's so slow, bro.
Well, I can hear you fine.
Okay, it's better now.
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Even when you're talking, your video just gets a little choppy.
Okay. Sorry. But yeah, so that's what I did. I just kept doing that. And then eventually, that's when the pandemic hit right after that, like in March. And when the pandemic hit, dude, it was dirty money. Like I was selling weights. Everything was profitable in Walmart at the time. Everything. Like, it was crazy.
Like give an example of something you would buy, like maybe some dumbbells or barbells. And I'm trying to imagine, like, I don't ship anything that heavy. Like I deal with mostly DVDs and books and board games and stuff like that. So give some examples of like things you'd be buying during the pandemic and like what you'd be paying and flipping it for and stuff.
Yeah. Probably the riskiest thing I bought was like, I bought so whenever the toilet paper shortage happened, people weren't checking the camping section. And there was actually 2 or 3 different types of toilet paper that you could get in the camping section of Walmart that no one knew about. So I was buying those for like $3 and selling them for like sometimes like 30. And I stopped selling those because those were getting me really bad reviews. So I was like, okay, I can't sell that. But like the stuff that did me really well was like these shop towels, these blue shop towels I was buying for $3.97 and selling them for like 28. I was making like $15 a piece. And I think I sold over like 500 units 1 month, maybe more.
Wow.
And then I was selling these pink 5-pound weights. I was getting them for $5. They were about $1 a pound. And I was selling those for 35, paying $8 for shipping. I was probably making 10, 15 bucks on those.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The margins that we saw in March of last year, like retail arbitrage, if you did retail arbitrage when I started, like it was easy. It's a lot more difficult now. I think you can still make good money, but it's a little bit more difficult now, I think.
So you did around 210, 215,000 that first year. Now this year you've done, I think I said what, 440,000, 445,000, something like that. So how has your business changed? We'll get right to the bread and butter because I don't know how long our internet's going to last here. So let's get to the bread and the butter. How the heck did you do that? And what are you doing?
Yeah. And honestly, like I know that sounds exciting, but if there's if you're watching this and you're like, gosh, there's no way I could do that. I mean, there's kids. I'm 26. I mean, I have friends that we know in our network, of resellers that are like 18, 19, 20 blowing me out of the water, And one of the biggest things I've noticed is you have to leverage. So, and when I say leverage, I mean either you need credit, right? So once the first couple months, your primary focus should be just figuring out how to flip something like for a profit and find those items consistently. That should be all you concern yourself with in the first couple months is what's the sales rank? How do I look at a Keepa chart? And how do I know that I'm making money on this item? And you can probably figure that out in a week. It doesn't need to take you 2 months. But once you figure that out and you have a reliable system to find items and you're tracking your numbers and everything, the next big step is, okay, how do I dump as much money into inventory as I possibly can, maxing out credit cards, getting a business loan, working with investors. That's what I did. I worked with investors. My credit lines weren't super big. So like when the chlorine shortage happened this July, I had all my stuff. I maxed out my credit cards. I had 8K in credit cards and I maxed it all out in chlorine. And I was just sitting around, but I was like, there's no way I'm going to let this chlorine sit on the shelf. So I called up one of my buddies from college, Eric, shout out to Eric. And I haven't talked to him in like a year. I'm like, bro, like this opportunity is crazy. If you send me 10 grand right now, I'll send in 2 weeks, I'll send you your 10 grand back plus $1,000 profit. And he was like, what? He's like, you're going to pay me $1,000 and all I have to do is give you 10 grand for 2 weeks. And I'm like, bro, I'm going to make 5. I don't care about giving you 1,000, or it was even, so he did, he sent me 10 grand. I was in Houston at the time with my friend and we grabbed a U-Haul. We just ran around and filled up the U-Haul. But to answer your question, how did I do it? Once you know how to make money flipping something and you're confident that what you're buying is actually selling for profit, then it's like, okay, let's dump as much money into this as humanly possible. And the people with the bigger kahunas that are willing to spend the money are going to make more money. Most people stop because they're scared to spend money. That's it. Be willing to take risk. If you want to make 100, 200, 400,000, $1 million on Amazon, you need to be able to take risk. And then the second thing, once you start spending more money, you're going to notice that your time is going to get taken up, right? And whether it's, if you're doing merchant fulfilled, you're going to be prepping stuff. If you're doing FBA, you're going to have to be making shipments. So the second thing you want to start incorporating once you start leveraging credit is leveraging and getting your time back so that you can focus on, the high income skills like finding products and, making sure the system is moving right. And those things are like hiring an employee or getting a prep center. So that's basically what I did in 2021 that let me scale my business. And I'm going to continue to do in 2022 is I have 2 prep centers and 2 investors I'm working with, and I'm about to get my first business card with like probably a 10 or 20K limit. And with those things, I think I can easily hit $1 million in sales next year, maybe more.
What are you going to get the American Express Gold Card?
I think so. Yeah. I have a couple disputes open on like a late payment. So those should be wrapping up in like a week or 2. And then I'll apply hopefully in January.
So if I hear you correctly, for anybody listening now, step number 1, if you want to start this, learn the basics, set up your account, learn how to send in an Amazon shipment, learn how to source products, analyze products using the Amazon seller app, using the Keepa chart, go through the process, learn how to make a couple $100. And then if you want to scale, then you really have to take control of credit. You've got to have cash flow. You can look towards investors. If you have the money, that's great. But it really sounds like, and I'm going through this as well, because I'm doing a lot of online arbitrage myself now in a little bit of a different way. I'm sinking more and more money in. And, the thing about OA is it takes a little while to start enjoying the profits, right? Because you've got this, you're putting money into these profitable deals that have, it's churning out profits. But the problem is you're putting so much cash back in that you're probably not seeing much, but you're building up this inventory, right? Like you're growing your inventory, and eventually you get to a point where you're probably taking more profits, I'd assume. Did that go
Yeah,
through?
you there? Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. You said you're sinking all this money into cash and inventory. So go ahead.
Yep. And eventually, what I was saying, just to recap, if you didn't hear me, is, it's hard to take profits at the beginning because you're having to put more and more money into the business to grow your inventory. So, your first $10,000 or $20,000, you might not be making a ton of money until you get to that point where your inventory is big enough.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Like, honestly, that's probably the biggest thing I struggle with is like, as soon as I start making money, like I usually spend it to go travel somewhere. So like if I was smart and really, really, really dedicated, like I would dramatically lower all my personal expenses and just reinvest everything back in and grow it fast as possible. But yeah, I mean, I don't think the margins are crazy. Like if you spend 10K on inventory, you're probably only going to make 3 or maybe 4 or 5 OA. But I mean, it's still good money.
So let's talk about what's working in your business right now. Can you give a little bit more detail in terms of, how does your online arbitrage business work? What are you doing? Where are you sourcing from? I'm not asking you to give away all your dirty little secrets, but what exactly are you doing right now in your business?
Yeah. So basically what's worked really well for me is so I have 2 VAs that are sourcing deals for me all day. And I like that because it frees up my time. Like it can be a lot of time to go through and find deals online, a lot of time. And if you're just getting started, it can be very unmotivating because you might spend 2 hours and not find a single deal. So what the secret sauce of this business is to understand and believe one thing. Like the people that give up don't believe this statement to be true. And here's the statement. There are plenty of profitable products on all of the major retail websites. They are literally everywhere. There's so much profitable products that you couldn't possibly buy them all. And there's an abundance. But what happens is that people don't know, they don't have a strategy. They don't know where to start. They don't know what they're looking for. They spend 2 hours copying and pasting and they give up and they're like, oh, there's nothing here. And it's really easy to believe that. But you have to think about it like this. Let's say that you go through Walmart.com. There's probably 100 million products on Walmart, like maybe less, maybe more. I have no idea, but there's millions of products on Walmart. Now, maybe only 1% of those are items that you want to buy, but still, I mean, 1% of 100 million is still a million profitable products. It's crazy, but you have to really, the people that are good at this is people, they just know what they're looking for and they're able to filter through the shit faster. Like that's what you are. You're just a filter. You're looking for the profitable stuff faster. So, I mean, we're sourcing from all the major retail websites, Walmart, Target, Bed Bath & Beyond. And I do a lot of home, kitchen, toys, and I'm getting more into clothing now. And yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't want to go into the details too much because I've spent a lot of time sort of finding my niche, but I definitely am doing a lot of toys. And the one client that I'm working with in my automation business, we have a lot of home and kitchen for him because he's not engaged in a lot of toys, but it's really just finding a system of finding profitable products over and over and over again. Some people use software like Tactical Arbitrage or Tactical Expander. I don't. I'd rather just pay my VAs to find them for me. But yeah, just know this, that the items are out there.
Let's talk about the VAs because I'm actually going through the same process. We were talking before we were live. I just hired 2 VAs myself and my manager. We're all working together. I built out the whole entire system of essentially my recipe because you have a recipe, Taylor, for what you do. And I'm sure you did it on your own at first, right? You had to follow the recipe and, if you followed it, you'd be able to source and filter through products. Let's talk about your VAs. So they're both full-time?
They're both full-time, yeah. And we're possibly looking for a third right now.
So are they in the Philippines?
Yep, in the Philippines.
Can I ask you, and you don't have to tell your exact, but maybe what can people expect to pay for, a
Oh yeah, yeah.
full-time
I mean,
VA?
I pay my one VA $4 an hour, but I started her at 2, and I pay my other VA $2.50 per hour. But the one that I'm paying for, she does everything for me. She updates all my spreadsheets. She runs my entire store. Like, I really, the only thing that I'll do is I'll place orders and I'll send her the receipt, and she does everything.
So, I said that I just hired two myself. How do you set? Because one thing I'm thinking about is like, how do I set expectations? Because, I'm going to teach them my secret recipe for how I'm sourcing. And I'm doing a lot of sourcing off of eBay, Mercari, Facebook Marketplace. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get them to do Facebook Marketplace, because I don't know if I want them to go on my account for that. But how do you set expectations? Because, this is a performance-based job. I have VAs I work with, customer service, are sitting back on the couch watching freaking Seinfeld, wherever they watch in the Philippines. Um, but this is active. Like, honestly, like, you're not going to be paying them, whatever it comes out to, $400 or $500 a month to not perform. So how do you set expectations and like monitor their results?
Yeah, I would. Yep. I would set, the best thing to do is make a document, like an actual document where it's very clear what their job description is, what they're expected to do every day, how many leads are they expected to find, what makes a good lead, when they should be clocking in, when they should be clocking out, when they're clocking in and out. Are they supposed to message you on WhatsApp? Are you going to use a time tracking software? Like, every single thing that needs to be done for the day should be included in that Google Doc, and then send them access to it, and then hop on a Zoom call with them and go over everything and make it extremely clear. Like, this is exactly what you need to be doing. And if you're not doing this, don't tell, don't be rude and threaten them, but make it known, like, this is what's expected. And if you can't do this, I'm going to find somebody else, because there's hundreds of thousands of VAs out there that can do what needs to be done. So just make it really, really clear. Like, most people that don't have success with their virtual assistants, they either haven't set the expectation very clear, or they're not that good of a leader, and they don't know how to motivate people and keep a good relationship. So that's the other really, really important thing, is once the expectations are clear, you have to it takes a little bit of people skills to understand how you're going to manage that expectation. Like, how are you going to let them know that they're falling a little bit short? How are you going to reward them whenever they go above and beyond? So like, I'll send Loom videos, like LOOM.com. You can get
Love
Loom.
Loom.
And and if they fall short and I don't like one of their leads, I'm sending them a detailed video, exactly why I don't like it and what they could have done better. And if they find me a crazy lead, I'm going to send them a bonus, like $5, $10, $20 if they find me something crazy.
Yeah, I'm going to be setting up an incentive program. I told them, so I just hired both of them. They're at $2 an hour. And I told them, eventually we go up to $2.53 over time. But the big mistake I made in the past is you overpay them in the beginning, and then they take the money and then they just leave. So it's better to like kind of incentivize them to stay for a long term. So I'm going to set up some type of incentive program after 90 days where, like, if they, make the company a certain amount of money, or they bring in X amount of money, like, they're going to get a little bit of a bonus, because it has to be a win-win in business. A lot of times people are greedy. They just want to hire people in the Philippines or wherever and just make all the money, but they're going to leave eventually. Like, and as you train a VA, the better they get, like, you almost have to pay them more money because they become more valuable.
100%.
My VAs are like, literally, a lot of them start at $2 an hour, and most of them are up to $7 an hour now, because, like, if I don't pay them that, they have so many skills now.
Yeah. And what are the people that you're paying $7? What are they doing?
Well, one of them, Des, she's like a manager now. So she manages multiple people. She manages different projects. So, for example, maybe I could be, starting a new project like this project now, where I just hired the 2 virtual assistants to do the sourcing. She's going through my training as well, and she's going to be managing them. Like, she's going to be my right-hand man or woman, right? She's my right-hand woman. And, she's going to be dealing with all the day-to-day BS that, you have to deal with when you work directly with a VA. So it creates a little bit of distance. And then you could set up systems for your manager to make sure they're updating the spreadsheets, make sure that they're submitting enough leads. She'll be the one checking their time proof to make sure they're clocking in. What are they doing? They're producing, making sure the team gets paid. So that's an example there, because there's a lot of time that you have to spend. Like, people think hiring a VA is just going to save a ton of time, and it does, but it also creates a new problem, because now you have to check up on them all the time and make sure they're like actually performing, or else you're just losing money.
100%. Yeah. I think in terms of scaling, like, it's 100% worth it, but you're going to end up putting probably more time in up front, because you have to train them and get the system in place. But once the system's in place, it's gonna be well worth it. But yeah, I think you made a really good point that I wanted to touch on. One of the really good ways of getting your VAs involved and making them feel like, wow, I want to stay working for this person, is tell them what your goals are. Make them feel like they're involved and they're not just a cog or a part of the system. Like, give them additional responsibilities instead of, making them source 8 hours a day. Maybe give them another task or two where they feel like they're learning. And that's a huge thing that I see, that my one VA, Tiffany, has stuck around for so long, and she's involved, is because she knows that my business is growing and she's going to be able to grow with me. And I'm teaching her so much that your VAs will stick around and work harder for you if you're going to actively teach them, because they know now that they'll be able to go and find another job if they want to in the future, because they have more skills. You know what I'm saying?
100%, man. 100%. Now, I'm curious for you. One of the big mistakes that I would make in the past is I would create a new job and I'd hire a VA and I would invest all this time. I'm talking weeks and months of training, to the point where, like, if it doesn't work out with them, like, I'm going to want to blow my brains out because I've invested so much into them. And how many times did they leave? A lot of times they do leave. So what I do now, and I'm curious if you do it. So, like, with the 2 people that I just hired, I'm recording a video for every step of the process for the job. And I'm creating the video like more general. Like, I'm not mentioning the person's name. Like, essentially I created a whole entire course. So I laid out exactly every part of my recipe, and I put it in a document. There's like 40 things. I'm making a video for every single one, because guess what? Now I don't have to duplicate it for the second VA. And what happens if one of them quits, which I guarantee one of them will eventually. It's the way it is. Now I could have my manager just plug them back into the system. And I don't know if you're doing anything like that with your sourcing, man, but I'm not making that mistake again. Heck no.
Yeah, no, that's what you're supposed to do. Like, I feel like that's like basically like an SOP, basically, that with all the videos. I have my main VA making those videos, and she'll just save the videos that I send her. But no, I've had taken sort of a more unique approach on it. What I'll do is, like, really all of the jobs that I've hired for are just regular sourcing people, other than Tiffany, who's my main VA now. And I'll just test them. Like, if I need something done that's never been done before, I'll send them a long voice message, 2 or 3 minutes. I'll say, this is what needs to be done. And if they can do it, great. And she's been able to learn pretty much everything and figure it out with a little bit of my help. But no, I think what you said is very important, because I will say this: before I found Tiffany, my main VA now, I went through 3, and it would have been helpful. I could have, like you said, made that document at the beginning instead of having to go through and do it all again 3 times.
Yeah. I had a girl that I hired about 3 months ago, and I taught her everything. I taught her all the products that I source, how to analyze. Like, you know how hard it is to teach someone brand new who's in the freaking Philippines how to source products and analyze and use Keepa charts, and, the difference between a merchant seller and an FBA and the time bump. I mean, dude, I taught this girl everything. I invested like 50 hours, and after a month and a half, I must have freaking burned her out, dude. She literally just ghosted me. I don't know if you got ghosted by a VA. They love to do that out there. They'll literally, like, they won't even tell you. They'll just completely ghost you.
Really?
Philippines are very, very, like, they don't like confrontation, I've noticed. And I've gotten ghosted a lot by them. Like, they're very, very polite, kind people. And and she just ghosted me, man. And it's taken me 3 months to muster up the courage to like get back at it, because it like broke my heart.
Yeah, you know what I would say is like find. Yeah, I wouldn't have invested that much time into one person because they can leave. But let them prove themselves first. Maybe find someone that already has skill. Like there's VAs out there that already know how to source. Like my one VA, Vanessa, when I hired her, I was like, "Look, send me 5 profitable leads in the next 8 hours. If I like them, you have a full-time job." You know.
I feel like what I'm doing is different though. Like I don't feel like there's a lot of people going and sourcing off of eBay to flip on
Oh
Amazon.
yeah, your business model is a little bit different.
Yeah, like what I'm doing is really unique. But yeah, I get it, man. But VAs are important, man. Could you be running your business without virtual assistants? And people are asking where to go. I go to onlinejobs.ph to hire mine. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I go there as well. Oh yeah, look at the comments. Oh wow, okay. Um, so I'm sorry, what was the question? It was, oh yeah, can I run the business without
Yeah.
VAs? Yeah, you definitely could. You definitely could. Um, if you have a really good ability to really go in a couple hours, you can find thousands of dollars of inventory to purchase. But if you're struggling to do that, then you should probably find a VA to help you, because if you're just getting started, your VA might be better at sourcing than you are. Also, too, like I have so many spreadsheets between my profitability tracker, my inventory, like my adding inventory to Amazon. There's so many little things to do. Like I don't want to do that. Like
Oh
if you don't
gosh, me
mind
neither.
doing that for a couple, if you don't mind doing that for a couple hours, have fun. Like, okay, do it yourself. But I would rather just have all my time back and pay someone else, a few dollars.
There's, I'm glad you're bringing up your profitability tracker and whatnot, because I talk to a lot of resellers and I'm in the middle of setting this up myself. There's a difference between having like GoDaddy bookkeeping and QuickBooks versus having like a profitability tracker, because the tracker that we're setting up is actually monitoring, like, first of all, is your inventory even being like received? Is it being shipped in? Is it active? Has it sold? What's your profit on each item? Which SKUs are doing the best? So that's really important, man, because there's a lot of resellers who scale their business, but they don't really understand if they're like making money or not. Like maybe their bank account was going up, but they don't really know what's going on inside the business. You know what
I
I
never
mean?
did. I never did I mean, literally, we just got this spreadsheet, um, 2 months ago, 3 months ago.
Big shout out
Up
to
and
Avery, man. I learned so much from him about spreadsheets, right? You too, right?
dude, I learned, yeah, like VAs, spreadsheets, um, outsourcing. I would probably still be doing retail arbitrage if it wasn't for him.
So what does your business look like? So you sit your ass at home doing nothing. I'm just kidding. So you're at home. You've got your 2 VAs who are sourcing major retail websites. They're working 8 hours each. They're sourcing leads for you. They present you with the leads and then you give the go about to purchase. Is that how it works?
Yeah, so it kind of works 2 different ways. If I have a lot of money, like if an investor just gave me money and like we need to place serious orders, like a few grand, 10 grand, whatever, I'll get on and I'll start buying stuff. But Tiffany actually has 2 of my credit cards. And if I'm lazy and like I just want to work from my phone, like everything I do, I can do from my phone. So if they'll send me leads through WhatsApp and they'll send the ASIN in a separate message and then all of the information in a 1-year Keepa chart, all in WhatsApp. And I can look at it in
Really?
the yep, and I can look at it in the message real quick and tell within 30 seconds if it's a good lead. And then I'll just reply back to Tiffany, buy 20 of those on my Chase card, send them to Pennsylvania Prep Center. And she'll
What
go in, she'll place the order.
So what are you looking for on that Keepa chart specifically? So like you're getting sent, let's just pretend it's like maybe some Nike socks or something like that, right? We'll make something up. I know a lot of people are selling those. What are you looking at on that Keepa chart? Like how are you analyzing it from your phone?
Yeah. So I want to know, I'm looking at a few things. Probably the first thing, is it a seasonal item? If it's a sock, it's probably not. So if it's a sock, then I'm looking at where's the buy box been the past 90 days, 180 days.
Is that all you care about is the buy box? You're not looking at like new, you're not looking at like FBA, Keepa.
No,
You can see like,
lowest price. This is actually a good question. This is a big disagreement or misunderstanding that my VA Vanessa and I got into yesterday. She was sourcing looking at the lowest prime offer, and the lowest prime offer was like 23, but the buy box was 40. And it was steadily hitting buy box. Like it was going like this. It was 40,
Interesting.
40, 40. And some listings, it won't do that. Like the buy box will match the low prime. But if you're getting a steady hit every, like a little heartbeat monitor at 40, you're going to get sales at 40, especially if it's moving like 3,000 units a month, which this ASIN was. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm like, what most likely, what is the question I'm asking myself when I'm looking at the Keepa chart is, what is the most probable or most likely price that this item can sell for? Like, what's the highest it can possibly sell for? Yeah, like that's what I want to know. And what's the worst case scenario? Because you want to know the worst case scenario. Like if this listing goes to shit, what's the worst it could drop to? And if it does that, am I at least going to break even?
Interesting. Yeah. I'm thinking of my own situation, but my situation, I'm dealing with more one-off items that are a bit slower. Like you're probably dealing with items that, the toy category, like in the toy category, you're probably dealing with items that are less than 50,000 rank, right? Things that are moving.
With toys, actually, I would say it's usually a little bit more than that because it depends. I have both, but I like toys that the ROI is like 150%, but it's only like 150, 200K sales rank. So I'm only moving maybe 10 or 15 units a month, but it's a lot bigger ROI.
So let me ask you about that, because I deal with a lot of toy items that I'm sourcing, and a lot of the ranks are between 150 and 250K. So say that the FBA low price is at 40, and the sales are coming in there, but they're getting the heartbeat of the 60, the heartbeat of 60. You're going to price it at the 60 because the worst comes to worst. So like, would you buy an item that breaks even at 40, but makes you, I don't know, 50% ROI at 60 because you see that heartbeat popping?
If I'm very confident that I can get it a sale at 60, yes.
Wow.
Like I just bought an item right now that at the lowest price available, like the lowest seller, it's break even. But I know that once I get the buy box where I want to, I'll make 60% ROI.
Interesting. Yeah.
And the one thing I would think about, Steve, is for your business, because it sounds like what you're doing is with these one-off eBay flips. I mean, it sounds really interesting if you can get a good system in place, but I would be careful with the one-off items only because I feel like the best thing about doing brand new items is you can buy 100 units of one. Like I have a couple of SKUs, I just bought 100 units. So like, I feel like with doing what you're doing, and I don't want to, talk crap about it necessarily.
No, it's good.
I would be careful with it because I think, again, if you have a VA that really knows what she's doing and she can find a lot of those deals in a day and it makes sense, crank it, because I know what type of deals. Like there's a couple toys I think I've sourced off eBay, but I'd say like the best thing about doing brand new stuff is it only takes one crazy ASIN that you can max out and you can make so much money on one ASIN.
Yeah. The thing I like about what I'm doing is like, I'm not going to say exactly what I'm sourcing, but like a lot of these items are making 30, 40, $50 a pop. And there's like very little competition. Amazon's not on the listing. I'm not having price wars. Like there's literally almost no way that like that price is going to tank because I'm going after very like special, like nostalgic items in a sense.
It's like exclusivity. It's what you like.
I like that. And I like that, like when I buy it, like I know that thing's going to move and I know the price isn't going to probably get crushed. Whereas like with what you're doing, I mean, if you put up $30 on an item, like what type of profit margin are you looking at getting for the most part?
If I'm spending 30, I want to make it at least 9 or 10.
Wow. That's actually really good. Because I would actually rather do that as well. If I could get 100 of the item, I'm just worried, is that price going to tank? At what percentage of those things tank?
Yeah. No, 100%. I mean, if you have something, I would, you could have your one VA like, okay, keep doing what you're doing. And then maybe 3 hours out of the day, start looking for some new items on like Walmart or Kohl's or something. Kohl's is hot with Kohl's Cash. Dude, Kohl's Cash is.
Oh man, I don't know anything about that Kohl's Cash, man. I got to learn.
Bro, check out Kohl's. I mean, that's like, honestly, I waited till 44 minutes into this live stream because I almost didn't want to say that, but people are watching. Check out Kohl's. Dude.
Oh man.
It's insane.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, there's so many opportunities, man. And I love, did you get the email from Amazon? I saw it circulating around with the restock limits and the minimum IPI increasing. That's good
Yeah,
news.
man. I know. It's huge. That basically we're going to have unlimited storage limits again, but just not unlimited restock, right?
Yeah. What does that mean? So break that down.
So I think like when you go to your Amazon FBA inventory, whatever, and you click restock limits, it like right now I have a storage limit of like 3,700 units.
Oh, I'm a
I'm pretty
thousand.
all right. Well, you probably don't have what's your
I only have
IPI?
500 items in my inventory now.
Okay.
I
What's your
can't get my
IPI?
inventory up, dude. It sells too quick.
Yeah, you got to buy more of one SKU, man.
Well, that's why I'm hiring the 2 VAs, man. It's like my sales are only at 17,000 a month. But that's 500. My goal is to get up to 40,000 a month, but it's like, that's the biggest problem I have now. Like I'm having to prep everything myself, and I'm sourcing all by
Yeah.
myself.
Oh, you're not using a prep center.
Well, remember we talked about that, but I decided that before I set up everything with the prep center, I'm just going to get my team in line. I want to get my sourcing in line, and then I'm going to get the prep center because the prep center scares me. We talked about that, and my spreadsheet's still a shit show, so I'm still getting the spreadsheet worked out.
Well, dude, I would say you of all people, you probably have the least to worry about because you're sourcing items that have a $50 margin.
Yeah.
A dollar.
Yeah, I don't care. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's a dollar.
Yeah. I don't care about that, but you know how sophisticated this, I mean, it's not that sophisticated, but the spreadsheet, like it has to be like, you have to have your system built out with the spreadsheet and with your prep center. Like you have to be like on the same page because you're going to start having tons of things come in and you need to have systems in place with the VAs to know, like, has this thing been checked in? Is the tracking say delivered? Did they not ship it out? Did it ship out? Did it actually get to the Amazon warehouse? Like, there's a lot of systems to put in place for that.
Yeah. No, I guess I'm more of a bootstrapper. I just we figure it out as we go.
Oh God, I'm more of a chicken shit. It's so funny how like different Avery and I were because you lived with him for a year. I lived with him for a year. Like me and Avery are completely different. Like you and Avery are cut from the same cloth where like, you're just like, I'm just going to jump into the fire and figure out like how to get out of here alive. And I'm like, okay, the fire, like I got to get fire preventative clothes on. Like I'm a planner and I'm thinking, and it has pros and cons, there's pros and cons to both. I'm curious in the comments, like what types are you like, are you more of like jumping the fire? Are you going to get a fire suit on first? Like, what are you going to do? Like, that's how I am, but I'm trying to grow my kahunas.
Yeah, that's how I've always learned. But no, it definitely is good. I think like Jeff Bezos says, I think it's him. He's like, you should start with 70% of the information. He's like, because from 70 to 80, you're not going to really gain that much more. And you're probably just going to overthink. But if you just start with 70%, you'll be good.
Gotcha, man. Cool. So what are your goals, man? 2022, because I know we're kind of getting to that time limit, and appreciate everybody watching and appreciate you hanging, Taylor. What are you shooting for? What are the big goals? Maybe you can name a number, but also name like the processes you're going to have to put in place to hit that. And we'll look back in a year and see if you did it.
Yeah, absolutely. So for my business, I did 400K, just over 400K this year. I think as long as I get my business credit card and everything continues to go good with the investors, I think I can definitely hit $1 million in the end of next year. And it'll be all online arbitrage. I have no plans of getting into wholesale at all. And like, yeah. And basically it's going to be just the process to get there is going to be to continue to buy what works and just spending more money. Like I already have the whole system in place. The OA system that I'm going to use at 400,000 is really the same to get to $1 million. I'm trying to think if there would be any. Yeah. Like I need to spend, I think it was 66 or was it? Yeah. $33,000 a month. If I can spend $33,000 a month, typically if you buy something for $1, it's going to sell for $2.70. Like it's a 2.7x. So if I can spend $33,000 a month, it's like just over 350 total spend, and that'll get me to $1 million. So that's my goal for there. And then I have been keeping this super DL. I haven't really posted on this on my Instagram at all, but I have
49 minutes in, man. It's good. We're past the Cole's cash, so you're good to drop it.
No, I have one automation client that I've been working with him. So we'll do about 20,000 this month, and we'll both make $2,000. So my goal is to scale him up to where he's doing about 30,000 a month, and we're like right there. And I want to get one more automation client. And then between those two things, in terms of Amazon, those are my major Amazon goals.
Dude, I'm excited for you, man. You've got, like you said before, you built the system out. You've got your spreadsheet. You've got your team. You've got your prep center. You've got your recipe for sourcing. So, I mean, right now it's just a matter of spending more money. Do you think you're going to have to hire another VA? I know you had mentioned, you kind of alluded to it earlier.
I don't think we'll ever have, in terms of sourcing, I don't think I'll need to do more than 3. Because right now I'm finding stuff pretty quickly myself. So I think 2 or 3 is going to be plenty.
Gotcha. Happy 2020 Ton says, what happens if you focus on one ASIN and Amazon or another seller starts winning the buy box?
Yeah. Well, the buy box is, I mean, it's calculated by an algorithm, so it should be sharing it with you. It should be rotating. The one thing to watch out for is, like, you want to get an idea of how many sellers are on that listing versus how many variations there are. That's the biggest thing that confuses people. Like, for example, if a listing is only, let's say it's selling 100 units a month, but there's 100 sellers. Okay, that's not that good, because now if the buy box is evenly shared, maybe it's not, maybe it's going to only go to the, 30% of the sellers, but even still 30, you're still competing with 30 or 40 sellers. So those 100 sales, you're probably only going to get 3 or 4. So make sure you're taking the total sales. What I'll do is we'll take the total sales, say selling 1,000 units. I'll divide it by the number of sellers, and I'll divide it by the number of variations. And then that's kind of how you can expect to get what you're going to sell.
There was a software that my buddy John Cleater told me about a long time ago, because he was big into selling shoes, that would actually share with you specifically how many sales were coming from each variation.
Yeah, actually.
What is that called? Red something, or?
It's actually, you can do it on Keepa. Let's just pull up, like, can I share my screen on this?
I think I think at the bottom, there's a button all the way towards the bottom that says share.
Okay, let me just sort of exit out of this stuff. And yeah, but no, you can actually do this, to answer your question, right on Keepa.
I didn't know about that.
So let's do share screen. Yeah, share screen. Okay. Is it going? I think you might have to switch me over, Steve.
Yeah, I'm gonna add you in there.
Okay, so can you see me? Can you see me now or no?
Yep. Hold on one second. Yep, I can see you.
Can you see the Amazon screen?
Yep, we see it. Oh, this is pretty cool.
You see a man's Legend short sleeve t-shirt?
Yep, it's on the big screen.
Okay, perfect. Why isn't this loading? Oh, here we go. Okay, well, so
you're on hotspot. You got to get that Coles cast.
I know, dude. I'm so sorry.
It wasn't.
Steve, I feel really bad.
Honestly, it wasn't.
I wasn't prepared today.
It honestly wasn't that bad, man. We got through it, so I'm happy. This has been fun.
Okay, yeah. So this is a helium 10. I mean, most people probably won't have this, but this is if you go to the Keepa chart, you guys can see this, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So if you go up here, you learn something new every day. I just learned this on a coaching call with one of my coaching students. He taught me this. I didn't even know you could do this. Okay. You go over to variations. See where it says variations?
Yeah.
And then you click ratings. And then this is going to filter by the top selling variations. It looks like none of these are selling, or there's no data. There's no data on this. But what this is, let me get a better one. Let's see if this one will load in for us. Yeah. So so something like this is very intimidating, because look how many variations there are. If this listing is only selling 50 units, you have no idea which one it's going to, right? So what you want to make sure you do is you come down here and you click variations.
Wow.
And then this is going to tell you exactly what percentage of sales are being attributed to each size and color. So if we click here and we filter by ratings, we know that 6% of the sales on this ASIN are
Wow.
being attributed to the Nike Met Legend Black Large. So this is what I'll
Wow.
do, Steve. I'll click up here on my viral launch extension, and I want to know how many units is this entire ASIN selling, right? So I have a monthly sales of 6,962. Let's lowball it. Let's say it's 6,000, and I'll multiply that 6,000 by 6%. And
Yep.
I know that this black Nike Men's Legend t-shirt is going to give me 360 sales per month on average.
Wow.
Yeah. So if you have a listing way down here and you're like, oh, I'm going to sell the yellow shirt. Well, be careful, because that yellow shirt is only getting less than 1% of sales.
Now, how many sellers are on that listing? Because now we can say, okay, it's selling 360 times a month. There's how many FBA sellers? And now we can predict how many times we can get the buy box per month.
Yeah. So let's see. Let's go up. It looks like this is the black large ASIN YHM. So we'll go to black large. Oops. This is like, yo, I'm glad we say this for the end. Like, anyone that's still in here watching this, these are some like golden nuggets that like not a lot of people know about.
I'm learning a lot.
Yeah. So like we have right here, see how there's only 5 sellers. So if you do the math, we have 360 sales attributed to this specific color and size divided by 5. I mean, you should be buying at least 30 or 40 units of this, expecting to sell. Oh, let me get my charger real quick. Hold on a second.
Yep. Take your
My
time.
laptop's
I'll answer some questions.
Stop cam. Can you switch me back over to
Yes, sir.
myself?
All right. Back in action. So we got a bunch of people in the comments right now. What's going on, Ginger? What's going on, brother? What's up, Kevin? Good to see you. How to join your program? We don't have a program.
Well, that was a close one.
This is a free live stream.
But yeah, I feel like a lot of people don't know about that. And that's why I stopped selling shoes, actually, because I got screwed. There was a bunch of variations and I bought shoes that never sold.
And if you knew that one tip from your student, it's so funny,
Dude.
man. Like, people expect, like, you know, since we're on like the YouTube show, that we know it all. Like, I look like a complete idiot on one of the YouTube shows yesterday, man. Like, have you ever heard of Google Lens?
Google who?
Google Lens, like a lens on a camera lens. Google Lens. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah, this is actually a really, I'm sorry. This is actually a really good point by Sal. He says, we are just looking at reviews. That's a really good point. Like, technically, that percentage is being attributed to the number of reviews. But really, in my opinion, that's the number of reviews is your best indicator of how many sales it's getting. You know, like, maybe there is a software that's what you were talking about, Steve, that does tell you exactly how many sales it's getting. But a percentage of reviews is a really strong indicator of the percentage of sales.
I wonder if Jungle Scout does that at all. They've grown so much. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't use Jungle Scout a lot, but I'm sorry. You were talking about Google Lens or something?
Oh, no, it's all good. I was just making a point, man. There's something to learn from everybody. There's so much to learn. And one little trick, one little ninja tip could make all the difference in your business. So, you know, for everybody watching right now, hopefully you've learned a couple things. You know, we dove pretty deep into virtual assistants. It might have been a little too high level for some people, but these are the things that like we're going through in our business right now. That tip with the variations with Keepa, I never knew that. That was really, really cool, man. And one of the big things I learned from Taylor is like, sometimes you just got to jump in, man. You got to try things. Like, you see those Robert Grahams at TJ Maxx, like, give it a shot. Like, go list it on eBay. Oh, you see those books that you overpaid for because you got sold at a real estate, seminar, like, go send in your first Amazon FBA shipment. You know, it's easy to sit on the sidelines and worry and overplan, but sometimes you just got to dive in and do it.
Dude, 100%. Like, there's a good quote. Like, the next lesson is always right where you are. Like, I feel like a lot, and that's how I felt like 3 years ago when I was getting started in entrepreneurship. Like, it's really easy to feel like, oh, I'm screwing up. Like, I'm not in the right place. It's like, I love to live my life even when things are going horribly wrong, I always tell myself this is exactly where I need to be. And the next lesson, the next opportunity is always right here where I am. And if
Mm.
you're looking for it, it always presents itself. Like, I'll share a quick story. Like, the first investor I ever worked with, they gave me $15,000. This was actually right when Avery and I went to Costa Rica. And I bought $10,000 of online arbitrage inventory, and all of it broke even. Some of it lost me money. Like, I was screwed. I was absolutely screwed. I was like crapping my pants. I'm like, yo, I'm not going to be able to pay these guys back. And then I got back into Miami. I had like $4,000 left. And I was like, screw it. Like, I ended up taking a road trip, and that was when I found chlorine. I dumped like the last $4,000 into chlorine and made like 20 grand. And that saved my ass. But if I stayed home and complained and was like, oh, I regret, I can't believe I took this investor's money. This was so stupid. Like, bro, if you just have faith that shit's going to work out and you keep your eyes open, you do the work, good things happen. They always do.
But you got to do the work and you got to keep your eyes open. It's so easy. I mean, to fall victim to your demons. Like, I've gone through it where you just start, for me, it's like overeating, or I'll start drinking or start doing a bunch of dumb shit. And then next thing you know, like, it's a perpetual cycle. Like, things just get worse and worse and worse. But if you have faith, you keep working. Like, even these live shows are like huge, because like, you're getting around people, you're getting ideas. Like, yeah, 90% of the content we talked about probably isn't a fit for people who are watching, but maybe there's 5-10% that you can take and run with. And that's what it's all about in life, is finding those couple little gold nuggets that can help you get to the next step and open up that door to something which could be amazing.
100%, man. I mean, I'm sure you did. I'm sure you ran into a big obstacles growing your YouTube channel. Like, I'm sure there was days where you're like, bro, like, I want to just give this up. This is a waste of my time.
Yeah, man. It's part of the process. You know, that's why most people just work jobs, because it's easy to just have someone tell you what to do, raise your hand, clock in, clock out. Someone's figuring out the whole thing for you. But when you're running your business, man, at any scale, you could be doing a couple $100 a month or a couple $100,000 a month. You know, you're the creator, you're responsible for it all. Like, all the weight is on your shoulders, Taylor, right? Like, your business, like, if you don't make it work, you don't get paid.
100%.
You don't have a boss.
And dude, there's some days where it's like, that's kind of scary, but I've been on the other side of it. Like, I've had jobs, and I know that I would, like, I know that that's not what I would probably rather be homeless and poor than have a job. Like, I just feel like I'm a slave. And that maybe that's my feeling, at least. Like, I just can't do it.
Yeah, if you guys want to learn more, definitely go check out Taylor's. He has a YouTube channel. He posts a lot on TikTok as well, so you can see his handle. Is that your handle for everything? Or?
Yeah, if you go Taylor Jones _official, it's right there. That's my TikTok and my Instagram. And if you go to my Instagram, you can click at the link in my bio. You can find my YouTube. It should just be Taylor Jones.
Saul is asking, are you still doing coaching? Do you still offer like mentorship and coaching and stuff?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I do all the coaching I'm doing now. I used to coach like retail arbitrage. All of the coaching I do now, I help people basically build out the same system I have. And I typically don't do one-on-one calls. Like, I typically only do like 8 weeks at a time. But if that's something you're interested in, you can send me a DM on Instagram. That's usually the best way to get a hold of me.
Yeah, I've known a couple people who have done coaching with you, and everyone's been really happy, man. You know, the great thing is you're living it, you're doing it. You know, you're in the trenches, you've got the VAs, you're sourcing.
Yeah, man. You got to watch out for the people, you know, delivering the coaching that aren't doing it.
Yeah. There's a lot of those coaches out there right now, more than ever. Or they'll get you into the coaching program and you're not even getting coached by them. It's just like some random person.
Someone else. Yeah. Steve, are we gonna see you at Miami 2022? We'll
see, man. I got to get back to Miami, man. I really, really do. I really do want to get back over there. So we'll see, man. We'll see. It could be a great learning experience. Dude, who do you got coming? Anyone booked?
I think in terms of speakers, I think we got Scott Needham is coming for sure. I think Amazon Lit did say that they're coming back. And we'll have a couple new faces as well, little surprise speakers.
Yeah, so follow Taylor. If you guys want some coaching, hit him up. Probably best to just hit you up on Instagram or
DM. Instagram DM is the best way to get a hold of me.
Yeah, and follow him because he has a conference coming up, him and Avery in Miami, so that'll be cool. Ginger's asking, when is Miami 2022? I'm in Tampa, Florida.
Yeah, it's going to be in April 2nd is the date that we have right now.
Yeah, and I heard great things about the last one. So,
dude, it was a blast. Like,
you just need a new videographer.
oh my gosh, man. Do you know anybody? Dude, that was a crap show, man. That was a crap show, sadly.
Yeah, that was a bad VA.
Dude, we paid him $3,000 too, man. Like, oh my God.
He really needed an SOP. I heard that your videographer was like sitting on the chair, like taking notes and like
bro, and we didn't even get like one good picture, but like, I don't want to complain, but like, that's why, like, hilarious. Dude, that's why expectations were so clear. Like, are so important. VAs, whatever you're doing, we should have made it more clear, obviously, so.
Yeah, it's tough. That's one of my biggest challenges I've dealt with just in relationships, business, personal is, you have these expectations and you just expect people to read your mind. And it's like, everybody's different,
100%. Yeah. Miscommunication, man. I think that's like, I read a really good quote. It was on a meme the other day, and it was like 90% of relationships fail between what is felt and not said and what is said and not felt, or something like that.
FBA woman is saying, Steve, you have to come to Miami 22. I can't wait.
FBA woman. Yeah, it's gonna be wild. I think we're gonna have we're gonna try to sell like 200 tickets this year. So, and we want to do it a little different. I think last year was kind of boring. We had a lot of people. Some of the speakers, we were talking for 30 minutes at a time. I think people were kind of falling asleep. So we're going to do shorter talks. We might do like a little panel thing where we get to interview the speakers. I think Grant kind of want to model what Grant Cardone does at the 10X conference. He does a good job with that. So we'll see.
Well, let me know, man. When it comes about, I'll definitely push it for you and get it out there. And I'll see if I could come and check it out and whatnot, man, because I was a little jealous about last year. So thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate you. I kept you a little bit longer, but again, guys, go follow Taylor, go check him out, consume his content. The guy's doing it. Great guy. And, hopefully we'll get to be able to meet in real life outside of just passing each other in Brickell running.
I know.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Smash that like button. Show some love, Taylor. Appreciate you, brother. Keep crushing it, man. Can't wait for you to hit 7 figures in 2022.
Woo! Let's do it.
All right. Take care, everybody.